Hey guys, CactuPunk here. I wanted to talk to you quick before the next testing round about something that I've been explaining to people on forums ever since we started this, and I figured make a video to explain it, and that way I can just show the video instead of having to retype the same thing over and over again. Every time we post a video, somebody lists off a whole bunch of factors that we didn't test, you know. A million factors. This new upcoming efficiency test has a million little factors, you know, that are real factors. I don't doubt that, you know, stuff like the friction of the ball being shoved into the barrel and the back pressure caused by the ball accelerating into the bolt, and all of these things are factors. There's a billion of them. There's millions of them. But the important thing, and these are real factors that we can mathematically model, and we can mathematically figure out a different, that the effect on the trajectory of the paintball, or the efficiency, or whatever, is real. It's a real effect, alright? But the real tricksy part here is figuring out if that effect is large enough to have an effect that we can use and that we can notice on the field. Because if I test a whole set of factors and one of them gives me 10 whatevers better than the average, and one of them gives me 1 better than the average, which factor is more important, right? Obviously the 10 one, so we want to focus on that. Same thing goes with this kind of stuff. We don't do the test to find out what the factors are. We know what the factors are. We do a test to figure out how important each of the factors is, because I frankly don't know how important the back pressure against the bolt is for this efficiency test. I don't know. I know it is a force that acts in the gun, and I know that if it's large enough, we can notice its effect. The question is if it's large enough, and that's why we do the test. So, and this happens every time we post a test, is somebody says, well, here's a whole bunch of factors that you guys didn't test or didn't have an output variable for, yada yada yada. And that's true to a certain extent, but the goal of the test is to figure out which factors are important. Every time I trade a private message with Jack Wood, he lists off like 30 factors for every single test we do. He lists off just 1,000,001 factors, and you know, I gotta agree with him that all of those have an effect on the ball, have a real effect on the ball. But the key is that effect large enough for us to notice when we're shooting in a game, realistically? So that's why things like, you know, that's why we don't have a horribly, amazingly accurate rig, because we're testing stuff in the real world, looking for a real world thing. Because if we get some sort of benefit and we statistically determine that it's significant, the next question is, can we manipulate this benefit to our advantage, and is it a large enough benefit in the first place to change our gameplay or the way we set up guns? Now, on the paint-to-barrel match test, we showed a huge difference in consistency across the range on the paint-to-barrel match test, all the way from standard deviation of 1.9 feet per second to a standard deviation of like 6 feet per second, which is huge. I mean, you talk about a confidence interval based on that. One is plus or minus 6 feet per second. The other is plus or minus like 30 feet per second. So that's a big enough range that we have a real effect there. That paint-to-barrel match has a real effect on consistency. And it goes in both ways, because the Cooper T testing showed that the Cooper T bolt shot an average of 2 inches higher at 50 feet, which it was a significantly, statistically significant result. However, it's debatable, in my opinion, whether that is an advantage at all, because 2 inches at 50 feet is really kind of a marginal improvement. If you think that 2 inches, that extra 2 inches is important, can help you in your game, use a Cooper T bolt. Do it. I won't, because I don't believe the 2 inches will help my game any when I'm out there snap shooting. I'm not going to be like, pop, 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 pop. Okay, here's another example. When we were testing range, Jack Wood showed me some really sweet videos, and I really thank him. He's a great contact. He's been helping me out a lot, and it's phenomenal to have people in the industry like Jack Wood, like Simon, to go to, or who just fess up and send me a bunch of messages when they see our new videos and stuff like that. Very cool. Anyway, he sent me some videos when we were doing range testing that had a barrel clamped, like severely clamped to something, and when you shot the ball, you could see the barrel warping as the ball was going through the barrel. Now, this goes back to the factors thing. Does that have a factor on the shot? Of course it does. If we change the geometry of the barrel, we're changing the angle at which it's launching. We're probably changing the speed at which it's flying because it's bouncing off each side as the barrel warps. Of course it has an effect. A real effect that we can measure, that we could use equations to model, but when we get out in the backyard and we blast all the paint through the gun, did it have an effect that was worth it? That was an improvement that we can manage in game? Nope. So that's really where the crux of this thing is. There's a million factors involved in every single one of our tests, and we know what the factors are. The question is, which factors are important enough for us to merit to control? So again, this barrel wobble thing. If barrel wobble was a huge problem, then we would all shoot stainless steel barrels again, because stainless steel is a lot stronger than aluminum. But do you want to lug around a stainless steel 14-inch barrel? Because I've done it before. Bryce has one. And actually, amusing thing, he has this autococker that he puts this 14-inch stainless steel barrel on it. Barrel weighs more than the gun. And it gets kind of ridiculous like that. If that was an important factor, then managing it would be an important thing in our guns, but quite frankly, it's not. It doesn't have an effect that we can see when we're shooting, so there's no real reason to manage it. So it's the scale. The scale of the effects is crucially important in these kind of tests. So keep that in mind when you look through our videos, and when I don't know, just look through our videos, and when we post future videos, keep that in mind. And I'm sure I'm gonna have to bust out this video multiple times after the next set of myths, because it always comes up. You ignored a million variables. I know we did. Of course we did. We ignored the variable of how much I had for dinner last night, or if I'm fighting with my girlfriend, or, you know what I mean? There's another one, okay? You get the 2 inches extra range, or whatever, Cooper T style. And here's a good benchmark as to whether it's a factor that is important on the field. Think of things that affect your performance, other than your gun, you know. How much you had for dinner last night, if you had Chipotle an hour before you're playing, if you're fighting with your girlfriend, if your car broke down and you're stressed out. All of those things have a huge impact on your game, far more so than a lot of the things we test. So that's just kind of a benchmark, you know. If you feel like something is a marginal effect and you might want to consider using it, think of those kind of factors, you know. What you ate for dinner last night, if you had a Red Bull. Like me, I can't drink Red Bull while playing paintball. If you do, like, I get all jiggly and it's bad. That has far more effect than most of the stuff we've tested so far. So just kind of keep those benchmarks in mind, keep the scale of the effects in mind when you look at our test, because we can only manage so much and we can only control so much. So there is no particular reason to control certain factors that don't really benefit us. So you guys have a good one. Testing is scheduled for hopefully sometime next week.